My name is Vern Pike. I was in Berlin from July of 1959 to October of 1962, assigned to the 287th NP Company, where I was a platoon leader. On the night of August 12th, 1961, I was military police duty officer and received a call from Patrol 55 that there was some interesting events occurring down along the sector border between the American and the Soviet sectors at Friedrichstrasse and Zimmerstrasse. So I met our patrol down there, and we observed the East Germans digging holes in the middle of Zimmerstrasse, putting cement posts in those holes and connecting the posts with barbed wire, which was the initial Berlin Wall. As a result of that incident, I wound up as the first officer in charge of what became Checkpoint Charlie. A very interesting assignment, and what happened was that in late September, the East Germans began to halt American vehicles, demanding that the Americans show identification. General Lucius Clay, who was President Kennedy's personal representative in Berlin and had been the father of the Berlin airlift in 48-49, said this was not permissible and it would not be tolerated. And if it happened again, armed military police patrols would conduct an armed escort of American vehicles into the Soviet sector. It happened again, and I called my NP alert squad together, 12 soldiers, 3 jeeps. These were the rules of engagement. You are armed with the M14 rifle, the first unit to get the new rifle, magazine in the weapon, round in the chamber, safety off. If anyone stops you, shoot them. We conducted 15 armed escorts over the next couple of weeks into the Soviet sector. And on the 26th of October, on a Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock, the company commander of Tank Company, F Company 40th Armored, Major Tyree, he and I were standing there smoking a cigarette at Checkpoint Charlie because his tanks had just gone back to Tempelhof. All of a sudden, we looked down the street, and here comes a bunch of tanks up Friedrichstrasse towards Checkpoint Charlie. Major says, "Get my tanks back here." So I went, got them, brought them back. By now, the provost marshal's down there talking to General Clay, wanting to know, are those tanks Soviet or East German? And Colonel Sabalik said, "We know they're T-54 tanks, but they've painted over the bumper markings, and we can't tell. The uniforms are all nondescript." So General Clay said, "You find out whose tanks they are, because if they're East Germans, we go to war." So Colonel Sabalik turned to me and said, "Vern, go over there and find out whose tanks they are." Sam McCarr was my driver. We jumped in the sedan, over we went, pulled in behind the formation. There was nobody around. I couldn't believe it. There were no East German guards, there were no Soviet, nobody. I walked around behind the last tank in the formation, and sure enough, they painted over the bumper markings. You could see it. So I'm a 24-year-old lieutenant. What are my orders? Find out whose tanks they are. So climbed up inside the tank. We went down into the driver's compartment, and there on the instrument panel, acrylic script, Soviet. Driver left a Red Army newspaper by the brake handle. I grabbed the paper, climbed out of the tank, and saw a briefing going on behind the lead tank, about 50 soldiers up there. So I grabbed my cart and said, "Let's go attend the briefing." So we went up. Whoever the leader was speaking Russian. He looks up and sees 2 American MPs in his formation. He got a little nasty, and so I said, "Let's get the hell out of here and go back to Checkpoint Charlie." Did so. My colonel said, "Whose tanks are they?" I said, "Soviet." "How did you did what?" Usually the phone said, "You tell General Clay." So I said, "Sir, Lieutenant Pike, they're Soviet tanks." I detected, but I could be completely wrong, but I thought I detected some kind of a chuckle in General Clay. The Soviets finally acknowledged that they were responsible for the security of their sector like we were ours. And that was one of many incidents that we had in my time in Berlin.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.